Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. So as you can see here, it's a pretty simple concept. Um, Last week I made myself a playlist while I was high. Uh, why did I do it? What became of it? Is it good? Is it awful? Is it nonstop deep cut reggae? Yeah. Well, all your questions are about to get answered. So don't you worry. Stick with me. We're going to figure this out. Yes, I was enjoying my weekendly edibles as I do, as I am right now. Don't tell anybody. It's a secret. Anyway, I have no idea. I don't remember what I put on it. Um, I even now I don't because I made these slides back then, and so I have not recorded these, and I don't remember what's on them. So it's going to be as much a surprise for me as it is for all of you. Um, yeah. So this is a mystery gift to myself and possibly to you, provided that it's any good whatsoever. So hopefully it's a gift. Hopefully it's not something horrific and awful and bad that makes us all regret having come here in the first place. So, yes, moving onward. As always, as I do, all of the songs have been slowed and reverbed to within an inch of their lives, just so I can avoid getting copyright matched and like copyright struck is the one that I'm most concerned about. Because I don't want to get shut down. Like, I don't mind paying royalties to the people who own the copyrights and whatnots, if there were royalties to be paid, if I made anything off of these videos, which I don't, doing it for the love of the game. But, I don't want to get shut down before I even get off the ground here. So everything's slowed down and reverbed. So I will try to remember to make a playlist of all of these things and then to put it in the description so that you can see, hey, it's an actual thing. These are the actual songs that you can go and listen to at normal speed in a way that should actually generate money for the copyright holder, at least in theory. So, without further ado, let's kick it off. Let's do this. Track number one is some old school college rock. Oh, good stuff. This is Guadalcanal Diary from their album Walking in the Shadow of the Big Man. But this is from the expanded version of it because this was a B-side. And so, yeah, you will not find this song on most versions of this album. But, I'm loving this slow because, it is slow. Like, the way that they play it is slow and sludgy. And it's, a type of thing that absolutely Chuck Berry could not have imagined that white college kids would take his music and do this to it. Nor do I think he would have appreciated it if he had known that they would do that. But, whatever, man. It is what it is. I freaking love this version of it. It's one of, if I made you a mix in the last decade or so, this is on there. Because when I found this, I was like, oh my god, this is, everything that I love about, 90s college rock. Just condensed, or, not even 90s. This is, late 80s. Yeah, that whole era. Late 80s on into the 90s of college rock. Tasty. I love it. I love this track. congratulations to me for being very predictable and choosing a song that, of course, this is what I chose. Now, next up, we do have some reggae. And you know what? Happy me, it's not some Bob Marley, because, I mean, I love Bob Marley. Who doesn't is the point. Like, he is ubiquitous. We get it. Bob Marley made some excellent reggae. We all understand this. We all accept this. But we accept it to the detriment of other reggae artists and other reggae groups. And so, yeah, Toots and the Maytals, like, equally important, equally excellent. And yeah, I love me some Toots and the Maytals. They have some incredible albums, and Toots was going on this for a long time, and churning out good stuff. So yeah, Toots and the Maytals. And this is, I mean, yes, it is so stereotypical that a guy who is high on the marijuana is going to be like, yes, I'm going to put reggae on the mix. Yeah, of course I did. But you know what? It's a solidly deep enough cut, and it's also solidly, like, rootsy enough, because, I mean, Toots and the Maytals, like, I can enjoy the fact that this is what I put on instead of any of the other things I could have chosen, I suppose. Anyway, next up. Oh, and this is a good choice. To Live is to Fly, Townes Van Zandt. This is from, like, High, Low, and In Between, I believe, is some late Townes Van Zandt. He's such a unique voice, and, you know, is very country, but also very folksy, and also very, like, he, you know, Townes Van Zandt, to his unfortunate discredit, never really fit in to any single genre hard enough to enjoy the kind of popular success that he probably should have enjoyed. You know, because record nerds and, you know, music nerds of various varieties, like myself, love the Townes Van Zandt, and we know what a strong songwriter he is, and what a gorgeous melody he could weave, and how poignant his lyrics are. We are well aware. But yeah, in his own time, when records like this were coming out, yeah, I mean, were they doing as well as they should have? I don't think they were. I could be wrong. I have this perception of Townes Van Zandt that he was, like, perpetually a man out of time, and that, you know, he came to be appreciated, but, like, was not as appreciated as he should have been, and indeed is still not as appreciated as he should have been, except for when you say this out loud in a room full of music nerds. All of them, of course, are gonna go like, well, but I love Townes Van Zandt. And it's like, of course you do. All of us do. All those of us who are out there looking for artists who have been criminally underappreciated appreciate Townes Van Zandt. You know, like, it's yes, we do. But yeah, this is an excellent song, very typical of the kind of thing that he was capable of. Anyway, proud of myself for putting this on there. Now, this one is an interesting choice. This is Vincent van Gogh by Jonathan Richman. And I love Jonathan Richman so much. Now, there are two different versions of this song, both recorded by Jonathan Richman. He had a string of albums in the like early 2000s, this one from 2004, that were just excellent. Her Mystery, Not of High Heels and Eyeshadow, Not So Much to Love as to Be Loved as to Love. Like, excellent things that Jonathan Richman was putting out at the time. Beautiful, amazing songwriting. And, like, the beauty of Jonathan Richman, if you know, even going back all the way to the Modern Lovers, which most people will remember for things like Roadrunner and Egyptian Reggae and I Went Dancing in the Lesbian Bar, fun things like that. That there's a certain, like, joie de vivre in the Jonathan Richman approach to music. There's a certain, like, there's a feeling that he enjoys life more than most people, and that, like, we as adults, we get very complicated with things, but somehow Jonathan Richman has kept a, like, childlike wonder while also preserving an adult-like understanding of the world. And so when he writes a song about Vincent van Gogh, and yes, there is an earlier recording of this same song that some people might prefer. I prefer this one. It's just a matter of personal preference. Deal with it. But yeah, he loved color and he let it show. That's what he says about Vincent van Gogh. And it's like, yeah, why are you making it more complicated than that? Because we do. If you listen to someone who really knows their Van Gogh talk about it, they make it all complicated. And Jonathan Richman was like, no. I understand the man and his work, and I can tell you why it's amazing in as few words as possible. And that kind of beautiful simplicity, you just don't find elsewhere. And this sort of, wild-eyed optimism of a Jonathan Richman is infectious, and I love him, and I aspire to be like him, and I fail very often, but, you do what you can. Get ready. This next one has an excellent drum intro, but you're going to hear it slowed down and heavily reverbed. But here we go. There we go. We're off. The horns kick in. Here's something that really stands out with the Lovin' Things, which, is when you play at full speed, you really, really notice it. Because, like, the drummer in this band is killing it. Like, he's absolutely killing it. And the drums on this track sound great. I mean, the horns sound great. It's a beautiful melody. It's just beautifully perfect, like 1960s, what eventually became power pop, like this is what all those bands in the 90s were trying to recreate, all of your teenage fan clubs and whatnot, all of your, posies and all of those, your wondermints, etc. This is what they were trying to recreate. And yeah, the original stands up so well. Now, of course, we all know that the Grassroots, this guy right here, grew up to be Creed on The Office. And they reference his membership in this band in The Office because he's literally playing himself, which is hilarious and awesome. But yeah, it's just some great music from a certain time and place. Now, speaking of which, remember Goldfrapp? I swear, like, early 2000s, Goldfrapp was like it. And I looked forward to new releases from Goldfrapp like I look forward to new releases from Björk. And I'm trying to say Björk and not Bjork because I know it's Björk and not Bjork, but I've been saying Bjork my whole life. But I'm trying to be better. I'm trying to be culturally sensitive. Anyway, regardless, this one, UK Girls, is the obvious choice from Goldfrapp because it blends in the chorus from Olivia Newton-John's Physical. It's not a straight up cover of Physical, but it's like this weird, like slow, dark, Portishead-esque sort of remake of Physical. Yeah. It's so good. Like, it's as interesting a non-cover / sort of also kind of a cover that I have ever heard. And I cannot get enough of it. And if I had made you a mix in the early 2000s, the chances of this being on there, quite high. Now this next one, oh, yeah, I know. Divisive choice with the Tay-Tay sometimes, you know, like when you're supposed to be a serious-minded music fan. Can you like things that make it into the top 40? Can you? I don't know, and I don't care, because I'm telling you, I love the new Taylor Swift album, and I love so much Taylor Swift. I find her fascinating. I think she's an incredibly interesting slice of American modern music, and I think we learn a lot from her and from her journey as an artist. I mean, just the fact that she has re-recorded multiple albums in their entirety just to devalue her own back catalog and keep the unscrupulous, like, labels and other owner, like whoever it is that owns her music, from profiting off it in ways that she does not approve of. Like, she's a badass. I'm sorry, Taylor Swift is a badass, and we all have to deal with it. And this song right here goes so hard. I'm not kidding. When I heard it, like, I don't know, everybody loves all these other songs from the new Taylor Swift album, and I have listened to so many people talk about it, and nobody has mentioned this song, and I'm like, really? This is a goddamn anthem. Like, this is Taylor Swift, like, addressing her own public persona in a very real and potent way. And, like, it's kind of terrifying and beautiful and amazing and summarizes literally everything that I love about Taylor Swift. So, yeah, deal with it. And, you know, in case you thought that I had lost my sense of musical taste, yeah, bringing in some Eels. Because you gotta. Because I love Eels. You know, a few years back, when I was, because I, like everybody else, knew Eels from Beautiful Freak, you know, from a single in the 90s. And it was like, oh, that's good enough, you know, kind of like Space Hog, which also, by the way, Space Hog, underrated band who, like, did better than most people give them credit for. But, like, you know, most people remember them for In the Meantime, and that's it. And Eels people remember for Beautiful Freak, and that's it. But, like, this guy has been releasing incredible music for decades now and continues to do so whether he gets accolades for it or not. And he does get accolades for it from gigantic nerds like myself. And also, I don't know, more so out into the public. I mean, he's not completely unknown, but like, he's incredible. His music is awesomely potent. I mean, this song, Suicide Life, I mean, is so beautiful and so heavy at the same time. It's so much. And we are lucky to have the albums and albums worth of Eels that we have. But yeah, I got really into it because somebody traded in their entire Eels collection at Goodwill. Like, they just handed it to Goodwill. And so I picked up like 8 Eels albums all on the same day for like 99 cents a piece, and took them home and was like, I've heard that his other stuff is good. And I started listening to it, and it just, my mind was blown at the consistency of his quality. It just, you don't find someone who is that consistently interesting and good over that many decades. Like, it's, because he's been doing this since the 90s, you know? And much as I hate to admit it, it's been 3 decades since the 90s. So, yeah, all hail Eels, I guess, you know? Okay, this next one, you know, we're changing slightly. I've been thinking about Jurassic 5 lately because, yeah, you know, I feel like we've kind of forgotten about Jurassic 5 because in the early 2000s, underground hip-hop was bubbling to the surface, and you had your Black Aliciouses, and you had your Hieroglyphicsuses. You know, you had that Latyrix album that everybody was crazy about. You had early Roots stuff. You know, you had like Dilated Peoples. People Under the Stairs. Big fan. But yeah, Jurassic 5, so good. So many great tracks, so many great albums. And I feel like we kind of just, you know, brushed them to the side, which is criminal because there's such a unique and uniquely awesome hip-hop group. I love Jurassic 5. Absolutely love Jurassic 5. And if you have not had the pleasure, like, all hip-hop sounds terrible, slowed and reverbed, like it just does not work. So you have no sense for what this actually sounds like. Please listen to it in its original form and you'll know that it's good. Anyway, let's move on. Because I feel like I'm murdering that song. Oh, yes. Peter, Bjorn, and John. My goodness. You know, you gotta love the precision of your Scandinavian type indie rocks. You know, Peter, Bjorn, and John, like, yes, they have their one massive hit that we've all heard a million times over, even though I can never remember the name of that song, but I always recognize it when I hear it, and I'm like, oh, right, this is that Peter, Bjorn, and John one. But yeah, when you go through their many, many, many other albums, you realize, like, these guys have been churning it out at a high quality for a surprising amount of time. And they have a surprisingly large discography that is surprisingly uniformly excellent. So yeah, Peter, Bjorn, and John, It Don't Move Me. This is like I wish I could say that this was, a remarkable Peter, Bjorn, and John track. No, it's actually a typical Peter, Bjorn, and John track, which is what makes it remarkable, is that this is their typical. Love this stuff. Anyway, next one. Kind of surprised because, I love me some King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, and I will tell you this, I love doom metal. And so the doomier, the sludgier King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard get, the more I love it. But, like, what do I choose? I choose something that's, like, more of their psychedelic-ish stuff. But, like, not just psychedelic, but this is, like, melodically psychedelic. It's really... And you know what's funny? I forgot that I had slowed this down and reverbed it because I was like, oh, it's just like King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard to slow something down and reverb it. And then I'm like, wait, no, I did that. But don't put it past these guys. Like, they can do anything. If they've proved anything to us, it's that they are capable of whatever they like. It is their world, and we are all just living in it. Anyway, this next one, very, very hard genre shift. Prepare yourself, because we have entered the world of the video game cover band. Yeah, you're going to recognize this. Hold up. I'm just going to let it happen, and you're going to be like, oh. It's happening. Here we go. Oh, yeah. Sonic the Hedgehog. First level. This is what it is. The Green Hill Zone. Oh, my God. The memories. Like, I love the idea of a really high-quality video game cover band. Because there are so many video game cover bands that are like a not very talented metal band who just decided, like, what if we played video game songs? Would people like us then? And the answer is like, yeah, kinda. But these guys, the one-ups, like, they done up the game, early 2010s. When everybody was starting to get into the video game cover band game. Yes, that is what I was trying to say. Anyway, but everybody was trying to get into the game, and these guys were just above the pack. They were above all the rest in terms of how well it was recorded, how well it was produced, in terms of their musical ability. They're just the best video game cover band from that era. Is there a better one now? I don't know. I haven't looked. Feel free to tell me if there is, because I would love it if there was like a new dominant video game cover band. Oh, love it. Okay, prepare yourself. Another hard shift. Because I was high and I didn't know what I was doing, but apparently I put How Soon Is Now by the Smiths after the Green Hill Zone theme from Sonic the Hedgehog. This is the type of choice that you only make when you are under the influence, because this makes no sense from a mixed perspective. But yeah, what am I going to say about How Soon Is Now that has not already been said about this song and this band and everything about them? Like, they're just so great, so talented, such a unique voice in all of music history. And you're just, I don't know, I feel like every Smiths release is lightning in a bottle. Like, how uniformly good are Smiths albums? So good. Anyway, unimpeachable and I can do nothing to add to the greatness that already is there. So if you've not had the pleasure, I can't imagine how you would have gotten here without having had the pleasure, but please go have the pleasure. Anyway, next up. It has come up before in my other things. Oh, that's right. There's like a tambourine thing that happens first. But it's come up before how much I love James Iha and his particular musical oeuvre. Yeah. Love James Iha. Love everything about the man. Love everything that he does. Everything that he brings to the music. And, you know, the Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness era of Smashing Pumpkins, like, I don't know if we are ever going to see a band firing that hard in that brief a time, producing music of this high of a quality, and this much of it at this high a quality for that long. Like, I don't know. Have you listened to The Aeroplane Flies High? Like, I feel like if you're a music nerd of a certain age, you just have this little carrying case of The Aeroplane Flies High in your collection. I have my copy. Of course I have my copy. I couldn't wait to get my own copy because I was jealous of my friend Dan, who had a copy right when it came out. And like, the fact that the B-sides of Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness, that A, there were so many B-sides, that B, the B-sides were of such uniformly high quality. I mean, come on, this song right here, The Boy, it's so beautiful and amazing, and it's exactly James Iha kind of stuff. Like, I love everything that James Iha made in this era of Smashing Pumpkins, but like, this song in particular, it just hits me so hard in a nostalgia way, in an emotional way. I just can't get enough of it. This always, by the way, reminds me of the suicide of a dear friend of mine who killed himself, unfortunately, in high school. And yeah, I don't know why it always reminds me of him, but like, it does. And so there's a lot to this song with me. Like, it's not just that I love James Iha, it's that, like, I've got some serious connections to this song. Now, the same cannot be said of the last song, which is Knuckles by the Hold Steady. Now, I'll be perfectly honest with you. I remember everything about this decision. What I wanted to do was put on Positive Jam because I love that song so much. And the Hold Steady are so great. Like, they just do not receive enough credit for how great they are. Like, they're so uniquely awesome, you know, and I know that the vocals are a dividing point for a lot of people. You either hear this and you're like, oh, that's exactly right. Or you hear this and you're like, nope, turn it off. And I think that sort of divisiveness is the reason why they have not been much more immensely popular. Because I look at this band and I'm like, they should at least be as big as Wilco. And they're not, unfortunately. But yeah, anyway, I wanted to put Positive Jam on there, but Positive Jam is all about starting off with a positive jam, and it was going to be the last song on the mix, and I didn't want to move it all the way up to the top because I wanted to do it in the order that I put this thing together, and so I just chose the first next song of the Hold Steady that I clicked on that I was like, oh yeah, that gives me a certain vibe. So yeah, is Knuckles as good as Positive Jam? I don't think so. Is it good? Oh yeah. It's, as good a testament to how great this band is as anything else. They make a beautiful noise, and I can't help that I love it. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I think that will do it. I think that, we've had a good time looking through this mix that I made while I was high. And, the fact that I was a little bit high while I was making this video, kind of fun. Kind of fun looking at what I choose when under the influence. Not bad, high version of me. Thanks for not making it all reggae. Thanks for going against your instinct and not putting It Was a Crazy Game of Poker by OAR on there. Yeah. Because I was about to say oh and you say ah and I say revolution and you say ja. Because sometimes that's how you feel when you are high. I'm sorry. These things are true. Anyway, well, ladies and gents, I hope you have a pleasant rest of your always. And I will see you in the next one. Okay. Bye.